Good, happy Tuesday evening. Is Tuesday, June 21, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Tuesday evening, so let's get started right now. First up, Vermont man killed when truck crashes off I-93 and plunges into Connecticut River. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When your travel companion has 4 legs, it matters where you stay.
Jen and Jamie, this happened at around 11 this afternoon when the truck was traveling down that bridge closest to me. That bridge is northbound, and at about 2:30, the truck was then hauled up onto the other bridge, and that one is for 93 South. And you can see video of that right here after a truck lowered cables and vehicle straps into the water. 44-year-old Joshua Casey of Concord, Vermont, was behind the wheel. The vehicle drifted off the median, struck a tree, and traveled down an embankment before ending up in the river. He was pronounced dead at the scene. New Hampshire Fish and Game crews and drivers were at the scene, as well as New Hampshire State Police and Marine Patrol and other first responders. One lane on I-93 was closed near the scene, and drivers were asked to avoid the area. That lane is back open. This is a developing situation, and we're still waiting for details on exactly how that truck drifted. Once we get those details, we'll bring them to you both on air and online. Live in Littleton, Grace Finerman, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Man held on weapon charges talked about blowing up government building, investigators say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Fidium Fiber Internet is here with a totally new gig speed experience. You should check it out.
Cameras were not allowed inside the federal courthouse in Concord, where Kyle Morris appeared Tuesday for a detention hearing. The 22-year-old was arrested last week and indicted by a grand jury for possessing 2 machine guns, a violation of federal law. Morris's arrest comes months after the FBI and ATF conducted a raid on his Salem home in February. According to court documents, the weapons were found inside a locked closet at Morris's home, a room prosecutors say Morris confirmed that he only had access to. The U.S. Attorney's Office described Morris as someone with self-avowed extremism and violent rhetoric, highlighting conversations the office obtained which show in July of 2020, Morris advocated for a violent takeover of a building in Massachusetts, along with starting a race war and raising a swastika over a symbolic building in Massachusetts. Documents also say Morris spoke of driving a truck into the Massachusetts State House and blowing it up. Prosecutors say Morris also talked about attacking mosques, synagogues, diversity centers, and businesses that hire non-whites, and that he was willing to die in those attacks. But the defense painted a different picture, calling Morris a productive member of his community and a decorated Army veteran of the war in Afghanistan who was honorably discharged. The defense also points to his cooperation with the investigation and the fact that he has no criminal history.
And so in the end, the judge sided with the U.S. Attorney's Office, ordering that Morris be held pending his trial. We did speak with his defense attorney following today's hearing, but he told us he had no comment. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Woman arrested after Amber Alert waives extradition from Maine. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
New Hampshire authorities will soon pick her up and bring her back here, where she's charged with 2 felony counts of interference with custody. Court papers revealing a tenuous relationship between the 32-year-old mom and the children's grandmother, who has legal custody of the 8 and 11-year-olds. Somersworth police saying they were, quote, well aware of a long custody battle and that courts have repeatedly awarded the grandmother sole custody of the kids. Nichols, according to officers, made outlandish claims about the safety of the kids and said they were being brainwashed by their grandmother. After that Amber Alert last week, the mom and 2 kids were found behind an urgent care in South Portland, Maine. Well, court papers today showing that Nichols told police she brought the kids there to get them help from a friend who worked there, and also told the officers there in Maine she was escaping a domestic violence situation. Those kids were safely returned back to their grandmother. In the studio, Steve Botari, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Bail hearing held for man accused of seriously injuring a 2-month-old son. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When your travel companion has 4 legs, it matters where you stay.
He has entered a plea of not guilty. He is cloaked in innocence.
A robust defense for 47-year-old Rudy Harris in the face of heinous accusations about an assault in Hooksett on his own 2-month-old baby boy last September that rendered the infant unresponsive. The child ultimately diagnosed with retinal bleeding in both eyes, fractured ribs, a broken leg, and a brain hemorrhage by doctors at Boston Children's Hospital.
This 6-foot, 230-pound man caused traumatic brain injury to a 2-month-old baby.
This is just a bail hearing. Harris posted bail set by a commissioner back in April. The prosecution objected, calling the father a danger to the community, citing an eerily similar case involving Harris and a baby girl in the 90s in Massachusetts. The baby was diagnosed with a broken leg. Harris was never charged in that case.
I have to say that I am troubled by some of the prior history that was referenced here. It is an unusual thing for multiple small children left in somebody's care to be having fractures.
Harris's defense attorney chided the court for taking into account what she called uncharged conduct. She also updated the court about the Hooksett baby, saying he's meeting milestones and progressing despite his injuries. We're live in Concord. Amy Cavino, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. As flight delays continue, industry looks to train more pilots and flight crews. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Thousands of flights canceled or delayed across the country this past weekend. Bad weather at major hubs with cascading impacts.
It's very much a system that is running at capacity, and we don't have much room for error.
Increased demand amidst a shortage of pilots and flight crew, prompting fewer flights and bigger planes.
The airlines are bringing in the bigger aircraft that will hopefully keep us immune to some of these pilot shortage issues as long as the community fills them up.
While it is expensive to be certified to fly those aircraft, pay is at an all-time high. CHI Aerospace at Pease seeing an increase in flight training interest, opening cockpit doors.
Now I'm an instrument student at CHI, and so I'm trying to work through my ratings to eventually get to some kind of career goal with aviation and flying.
Maybe a commercial pilot?
Yep.
Corporate and general aviation, like PlaneSense, providing gateway opportunities in their aircraft.
Historically, it may have been a much longer process going through a legacy airline to get employment like that.
We had one instructor start from their private, move all the way through in 3 years, and now he just got hired at a regional airline.
Still, that bubble of time for training for pilots, crews, and all those essential aviation jobs takes time. And according to Ted Kitchens, it could be 18 to 24 months before things get back to normal. Reporting live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Rob Gronkowski retires from NFL for the second time. The tight end caught 79 touchdowns in 9 seasons with the Patriots. Nurse stranded for more than 24 hours aimed weekend flight delays and cancellations. Let's take a listen to that video from Pittsburgh Action News 4.
Protection from the inside out. We're all on a journey to live a better, healthier life and leave the stressors.
Travelers at airports all across the country are dealing with delays and cancellations over the past couple of days. Only on 4 tonight, a local ER nurse who just returned from a trip abroad is offering some insight as to why. Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reporter Kaylee Gunderson catching up with her tonight after her return home took about 60 hours. Kaylee?
Well, Mike, for about half of that time, she was stuck in JFK trying to get back here to Pittsburgh. She said it was delay after delay until ultimately her flight was canceled, and she and hundreds of others were stuck with the choice to either wait in line for hours to try to get on the next flight or find another way to get home.
Everything from Italy to New York, there were no delays until I got into the States.
A day of travel lasting longer than ER nurse Lorraine Hickson ever expected.
There were hundreds of people in this airport stranded.
She took to TikTok on Thursday to share the traveling chaos she was experiencing.
I have been traveling for 36 hours back from Italy to get back home to Pittsburgh.
That same day, weather delayed or canceled thousands of flights nationwide, rolling over more backup into the weekend.
The flight itself was changed 9 times with the gates. There were other Pittsburghers around me who also were following. We were moved from terminal to terminal, which these terminals were nowhere near each other. You had to take shuttles to get to these other places to get your flight.
After her longest delay, 12 hours, Hickson said her Delta flight was canceled.
After waiting for 4 hours, nobody to ask questions to, they had told me the bag was there. It had left on a plane to Pittsburgh, and I was still stuck at JFK.
In response to my questions specifically for Delta Airlines, which Hickson was relying on to get home, a spokesperson shared this statement, quote, "A variety of factors continue to impact our operations, including challenges with our air traffic control, weather, and unscheduled absences in some work groups. Canceling a flight is always our last resort, and we sincerely apologize to our customers for the inconvenience to their travel plans." Fortunately, Hickson's mother was able to drive 6 hours to bring her home from JFK, but Hickson says future travel plans might be put on hold.
I think it's going to take a long time for me to ever decide to fly again, just because it seems like this is becoming the norm of so many canceled flights and delays.
And several airlines have announced plans to try to ease the travel frustrations between now and the July 4th holiday. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg has said that he wants to see how it goes, and he's looking forward and hoping that it will get better. But he says if not, his department could enforce some penalties, I should say, against some of those airlines if they did not provide proper customer service. Reporting live at Pittsburgh International, Kaylee Gunderson, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. That does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening. Good night and goodbye.